Jesse, and welcome to this episode of
Supposedly.
Today, we're going to be doing something extra special for you guys. This is our Halloween bonus episode, and we are doing our first ghost hunt. And we're doing it at Survive KC, located above Union Station. So, Rue is in Kansas City right now, and unfortunately we can't be together because she's dealing with a family emergency. In the meantime, my lovely roommate, who you've heard on some of our episodes, is filling in for Rue. Christy, welcome back.
Hi, I'm so excited to be back and a little scared.
Are you ready for tonight's ghost hunt?
I think so.
Well, I can tell by your wardrobe you definitely are. Is there a particular reason or someone you're dressed like?
I am channeling my inner Zach Baggins.
That's right. It's a Zach Baggins night, y'all. So joining us tonight is also Levi Thomas, the owner of Survive KC. And why don't you come and tell us a little bit about Survive KC?
So Survive KC is a tactical laser tag course through the whole top floor of Union Station. And then it's also Graffiti Attic, where we let street artists come and paint walls and graffiti and hang out.
That's amazing. So when you say you're above Union Station in Kansas City is an amazing landmark that has been around for a really long time. Can you fill us in on a little bit of the history? Because you were telling me in the elevator, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible.
Yeah, so we have the top 2 floors and the attic of Union Station. And yeah, it actually hasn't been used for a whole lot of stuff. The main thing was after World War II, it was the morgue, basically, for all the bodies being shipped back from the war.
So Union Station was originally created as a train station in the year
1914.
1914, Rue. We're going to do a fact check on that, but Levi sounds confident, so we're going with it. In 1914, and it's been around ever since then, and it's seen a lot of paranormal activity from the very creation of the building.
Yeah, so 8 people died in the construction of the building itself, and then there have been several events like the shooting in the 40s that took place here.
Yeah, what he's referring to is the Kansas City Massacre. They were transporting a convict by the name of Nash, and in the process of unloading him from the train and taking him out to the police car, the police officers that were with him, as well as Nash, was gunned down in a hail of Tommy gun fire, and many of the bullet holes still remain in Union Station till today. Let's talk a little bit about the paranormal activity you've experienced personally here.
Yeah, so we have stuff, Every day?
Yeah,
every single day.
Introduce her.
Yeah, this is my COO, Ellie.
Hi guys, I'm Ellie.
Hey, happy to have you.
Yeah, so we've had just countless things. Like we're sitting here coming up with ones back to back that have happened.
Yeah, we could go on forever, to be honest, but we'll cap it with the best stories for you guys tonight.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the one about the router?
Oh, absolutely. So we have a back room here, kind of meant for just employees, and there's a couch that we kind of throw our belongings on or hang out on, and between bookings and whatnot. But there was a day when everybody else had gone, and it was sort of getting later in the evening, maybe 10-ish, maybe close to 11, which is when the paranormal things start to kind of occur more frequently. And Levi, it was you that heard the knock, basically, kind of on the other side of the wall in the room that we're at, and instantly we're like, oh my gosh, the ghosts are messing with us, whatever. I'm not the type to really do anything, but Levi loves to egg them on.
Oh boy, does he ever.
So what? Go ahead, Levi. Tell him what you did.
So we often will talk to them, and they respond almost every time. And so we heard this bang, and we're in the other room, but the door is open and you can see into the room. And so immediately I'm like, really, that's it? Like, that's the loudest you can do? I was like, you can do better than that. And then I go, pussy. And right when I said that, the router fell off of where it was sitting and smashed onto the table and the ground and unplugged itself.
Which is not something it should be able to do, considering it's been sitting there for months gathering dust, having no issue. There's nothing close to it. There's no reason that it should have fallen off or moved or anything like that. And we both saw it with our own eyes.
Okay, so you're saying it was like pretty sturdy in there for months before this happened?
Months. And like it was literally dusty.
Oh man. So Levi does like to egg on entities, and I heard that there was another story having to do with walkies, and once again you called a ghost a pussy, and what happened?
So literally the next day, I'm sitting on the couch, and it's a small room, and so on the same wall, but on the opposite side of the day before, we hear a bang on the wall. And so immediately I said the same thing. I'm like, you can do louder than that. And I was like, you pussy. And right when I said it, the walkie fell out of its stand and onto the counter where it was sitting.
So this walkie stands, like if anyone has ever worked with these walkie-talkies that are kind of meant for industrial situations, I use them all the time on film sets. The base that they charge into is a pretty deep base, so it's not like they can just fall. Even if you go over there and push on one, it's not going to fall. It has to be literally lifted to fall.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't or we should call these ghost pussies.
I think what he's saying is he's going to, and we're just along for the ride.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I will say oftentimes I'll be here late into the evening and artists will have left and Levi won't even be here and it'll be close to 11. I'll be packing up and I just get this eerie feeling. And it happens every time, especially when I'm alone in the space. And then like even with music on, there's just something about it kind of makes your skin crawl, like the hairs on your arms stand up a little bit. And that's when I know it's cue for me to get the heck out of here. Time to go home.
So are there any particular entities we're going to be trying to contact tonight, or who tends to show up other than whoever you call a pussy? Which I'm guessing, once again, he's going to call a lot of ghost pussies tonight, and you guys will be... You know what, Rue, you can bleep that. Or not, whatever. We're adults.
So we see a lot of like black figures. I've even seen some that look like kind of like a wolf or something just crawling. And I mean, it'll come between you and the light.
Absolutely. Yeah, there have been many times when, like, especially when I first started on here, I didn't really believe in ghosts or have any experience with that sort of thing. So Levi said, all right, we're going to sit in the dark, in this couch, in the attic, and we're just going to sit here in silence until something happens. And sure enough, you'll be looking into the darkness. And it gets darker, and then I'll be like, Levi, do you see that figure? And he's like, right over there in the corner. And I'm like, yes, right there. Like, I didn't even have to say anything. Like, you already knew. We're looking at the same
We both
thing.
saw the same thing. I mean,
Always.
back to back, probably 10, 15 times that night.
At least.
Yeah.
And again, Levi loves to egg them on. So he's like, all right, make a noise. And we'll hear like a little click in this space. Like, just kind of happening. And little taps here and there.
I think you just brought me to the next item in Jesse's Dollar Store makeshift ghost hunting kit. Guys, are you ready to see what else we got here?
Yeah.
Lots of tiny little bells to hang.
Oh, I love it.
We've got all sorts of bells in different colors that will be hanging in different areas or setting down. And when we ask them to make noises, we're going to give them lots of options today.
Oh, that'll be perfect.
Oh, and I also brought hand sanitizer if anyone needs, because this is still the pandemic. So
Lovely. Please and thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. I hope that they interact with the bells. It's hard to say though. They interact with the walls a lot.
which brings me to the next item in Jesse's Dollar Store makeshift ghost hunting kit. We have an Etch-a-Sketch Magnadoodle. If I've heard recently on a podcast that a poltergeist was able to communicate with a family through an Etch-a-Sketch, so I provided the world's tiniest Etch-a-Sketch Magnadoodle in hopes that that might be the case.
I love that.
We'll find out.
I think that maybe the magnetization is that the correct word of the Etch-a-Sketch would I don't know. I bet they could probably interact with it.
So let me reveal to you guys what else is in our ghost hunting kit here. I've got a motion-sensitive retro pendant lamp that's battery-operated. So we can ask them to walk in front of the light to light it up to answer some questions for us. And in case that's, I haven't communicated with spirits via flashlight, but I've heard it's a great way to do that. So I've just given them a lot of flashlight opportunities here. I don't know which one's going to work. I don't know if they're all going to work. I don't know if we're all going to take these as souvenirs. We've got a red one and a green one for yes and for no. We have a black one that's touch sensitive. We have this weird little magnet thing that is touch sensitive. Believe it or not, I just couldn't find out which flashlight is going to be the one. And then I got a bouncy ball. One, because it's fun for me, and two, maybe we can hear that. Maybe they'll play with that. The dog that was standing next to me in the store when I bought this was really crazy about it. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, you good boy. It's not for you. Batteries, of course. Extra, because Levi likes to egg things on that drain batteries. And then just Pop Rocks, and that was my snack. So,
Yes.
so basically, what we're going to be doing tonight is we are going to kind of spread out. We're going to walk down some main areas. Chrissy, what are your thoughts on that?
The spreading out part sounds terrifying, but I'm excited to communicate with some ghosts.
And Levi's going to walk us around. There's some main areas we're going to be looking at. And I guess I'm going to throw it to you to fill us in on those areas.
Cool. Let's stay in pairs, so that you can confirm, like, what each other saw and heard.
I like that idea.
Because it's real, and then it's always better when both people.
But we're gonna shift up the pairs.
Yeah.
So we'll go. Yeah, we'll have someone who's always works here with one of us.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first area that we can go to, let's do with the girl.
Oh, the hallway?
Yeah, the hallway with the little girl that
Heck
our
yeah.
employees used to play with.
Is that the scratch hallway or the further one?
Further one.
Further hallway.
And so
Brought a doll.
But you know what?
we have old antique dolls.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Actually, that's the doll hallway. So
That is
when
the
it
doll
when it was the haunted house, we hung all these dolls from the ceiling, and there, mind you, there's no ventilation in this room, or in the entire hallway, not for like 100 feet.
No.
And so we've got cameras throughout our whole building, and every now and then, I mean, it'd be at least once a week, we'd be sitting there. There's no one upstairs at all, and there'd be 3 dolls in the front, and then like the 4th doll would just start swinging, and then dolls 5, 6, etc. didn't move at all. And so this doll would just start swinging. It was always the one right by the camera, like where you'd see it.
So I gotta ask, do you still have that doll around?
Yeah, it's in our storage with all the other haunted, creepy stuff.
Seems like that might be her favorite. Maybe we pull that out tonight. Now you might notice a lot of us are. The sound's a little different today. We're passing back and forth one mic. We are a very low budget podcast, and we are on location, so we've got a very small kit.
We're in an attic.
We're in an attic.
We're in a very creepy attic.
A graffiti attic, if you will. So the little girl hallway, which was also, side note, featured on an episode of Ghost Adventures. A kind of lame episode, if you ask me. We're going to do better than Zach Baggins ever did. Sorry, Zach. But
Sorry, buddy. But I am channeling you, so.
we still love to hate you. Okay. And what are some of the other places? Oh, tell me about the World War II beds.
Oh yeah. So we've got some old bunk beds from World War II. During the war, the soldiers would come stay up here actually, and yeah, they'd scratch their names in the walls and stuff like that. And so there's also, that's actually right over by the hallway where people get the back of their legs grabbed. It happened to me. It happened to me twice, like hardcore. Could feel the fingers and the thumb, and there was no one behind me at all. And then we shot a music video up here, and we were all walking in line. And I don't ever tell people about this stuff. And so one of the videographers, which was in the back of the line, something grabbed the back of his leg, and he dropped his camera and took off running in front, into the middle of the group.
For a camera guy to drop his camera,
Yeah.
just so you know, that is expensive equipment. The camera we shoot with is about $50,000 to $100,000. If you've got the right lens on it, sometimes more. So that's huge.
Yeah, coming from a photographer myself, even just a low budget, I would never, ever drop my camera without something really terrifying happening, for my life, you know?
Yeah. And then the same thing has happened to security guards. And I mean, we've had probably 2 or 3 other people too that it's happened to. And then this all actually took place before I knew about the episode of Ghost Adventures. I didn't know that was a thing. And so I was talking to the security guard, telling him what keeps happening. And they're like, yeah, there's an episode, like a TV show about it. And so we watched it. And sure enough, in that hallway was exactly where he got grabbed in the back of the leg.
I think Levi gets to call a ghost a pussy in the leg hallway.
But one of you guys has to be in the back.
Her eyes are big.
1, 2, 3, not it.
Oh man, I thought it was gonna be paper, rock, scissors. Well, all right, I'll miss you guys.
That's how I won. Okay, we'll alternate. Any other areas we're gonna be checking out today?
Yeah, there's an area that we call Room 1, which is actually where the coroners worked, and to process all the bodies. They'd process it, get dog tags, and then there was a chute that we're on the 7th floor that would drop 3 floors below the ground floor all the way to the floor C, where she was talking about, where they had 4 big incinerators to cremate the bodies.
Okay, so when he talks about what she was talking about, we stole a security guard and we stole her story during her break, and we're like, hey, come be on this podcast. Right. And Riley was amazing to do that. We'll plug in her story here shortly so you hear it, but that's the floor that he's talking about.
Yeah, and so that's the room where we've sat, and you can actually see like dark figures.
Creep towards you, kind of like lights flashing that you're like, wait, there's no lights on. Why is that? Where's that light coming from? Where's that noise coming from? There's a click over there. Literally nobody else is in the space. What's going on? So yeah, we'll definitely probably be able to experience some stuff in that room.
And we actually did a seance a couple months ago, and that's the room where we were all sitting, and there were about 6 of us, and she'd call for it to make its like presence known, and it hit the wall, and then like kept going and did it again, and right when you asked to do something, it did it. And then that picture frame fell off the wall with all 6 of us in the room sitting in a circle 10 feet from the wall. And there's a concrete wall. So it's not like it vibrates. It's the literally 6-foot concrete wall of Union Station. And that picture frame's been there while we play laser tag, and people are bouncing around. And
their subwoofers are usually rattling the place. Like, I would understand if the music was on, but it wasn't. It just fell right off the wall.
Yep, right when we're doing a seance. So that's a good room.
I am so pumped to do this. Christy still looks a little anxious.
I'm a little anxious, but I'm excited at the same time.
So how this is going to work is we're going to scope out these areas. We're going to set up some of our bells and magnadoodle things. And we're going to report to you guys afterwards about what happened. Levi is going to leave the security cameras running for Survive KC, so they cover a lot of areas. We're going to be using...
We'll have our cell phones, and we'll be taking videos and photos with that. And then we also have another nice camera that hopefully we can catch some fun stuff on as well.
And afterwards, we'll talk about thoughts, and we'll share some personal experiences, past and present, and if someone sees the future, maybe future. Who knows? I'm not ruling anything out tonight is what I'm saying. So that being said, are you guys ready?
Yes.
All right, let's
We
get...
miss you, Rue.
We miss Rue. We wish you were here. Yes. So with that being said, let's fuck with some ghosts.
Sounds good.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so I just remembered one. So when we did this graffiti attic thing, it's a street art gallery that's open on First Fridays, like for the public to come walk through for free and view the art that the different Kansas City artists have made. And so all month, like, artists are up here all hours of the day painting and stuff like that. So all the light switches are on one light switch for the entire building. Yeah, the entire space. And the very first Friday that we decided like to be open to the public, hundreds of people were walking through, and that entire day it was 2 to 9 p.m. and right about 2:30 we started having issues with all the lights in different rooms would be flickering on and off like nonstop. We flipped the light switches on and off and tried to get it to stop and figure out what it was, but I'm not getting all evening, about every hour somewhere in the building, the lights would just be flickering, shutting off, but only for like half a second, then coming right back on and nonstop. And the light switch is in line of sight of where we sit, And so this keeps happening all the way until 9 o'clock when everyone left, and then it completely stopped, and the lights have worked perfectly fine ever since. And that's the only time it's ever happened.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. I just want to take a moment to really appreciate that Christy went all out with her Zach Baggins. She's got some leather gloves here. You've got the Zach Baggins glasses. We've got a beanie and a black jacket and a tactical backpack. We've got some hiking boots.
I am ready. You hear me, Zach? I am coming for your job.
No, we're coming for the ghosts. That's part B. All right. And our setup's going to begin. So I almost forgot. We need to ask these ghosts to come talk to us tonight, right? So Ellie, Levi, you guys are around here all the time. Why don't you ask them first, and then Christy and I'll do our little thing.
I'm gonna let Levi do that because I don't like to.
Yeah, I bet you can't come out and scare us.
pussies.
Pussies.
All right, if there are any spirits here tonight or anyone that wants to talk to us, we would love to talk to you. We've got lots of ways that we'd love to have you communicate with us. And we promise we're going to try to keep Levi in check. Spirits,
Come out and play.
Oh man, yes. We're looking forward to meeting some of you. I just want you to know, I'm going to be the nice one, guys. Watch, now they're really going to mess with me.
So we invite you to touch us. We invite you to talk to us. We invite you to let us see you. And we invite you to stay here while we go home.
And you know, you don't have to sneak up on us. You can, like say what's up in a cool, hey, in front of me way, not behind me. Ankle grabber. We're going to have some problems.
Grab Christy's ankle. Grab them both at the same time. Grab her butt, grab her boob. We don't care. We are here to meet you. Pussies. All right, so we're each going to take a walkie. Each team's going to take a walkie. I think we'll start out with Christy and Ellie on a team and me and Levi on one. God help me. Yeah, right? And then we're going to switch off a couple times. And so we should probably pick our first team names. So, Ellie, Christy, what do you want your team name to be?
Team Spook.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to get more spooked. Me or the ghost being spooky. I'm not sure.
Okay, and Levi, what should we name ours? Oh, I get to name it?
Yeah.
I'm going to name it Rue. Just because she's not here and I miss my Rue. So, we'll start off with Team Rue tonight. Rue, Scoob, this is for you guys. You're in our thoughts and prayers right now, so much love. All right, let's get ghosty with it. Supposedly.
Supposedly.
Yeah. Okay, so we are back from our makeshift ghost hunt, and we had some interactions, I'd say. Yeah. Christy, do you want to kind of tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Okay. When we were sitting on the ground, that first area, I felt something touch my arm twice, which freaked me out a little bit. And then when I was sitting in the desk, I felt something touch my ankle when I was sitting over there by the door. Oh, and then the typewriter. We kept hearing clicking coming from a room that had like one of those half doors right to my right. And I kept hearing clicking, and then when we showed the light in there, there's an actual typewriter in there. So we've got some good photos and some footage that Jess and Rue will, I'm sure, get up on their sites and all that fun stuff. But that was my experience. And then I'll let you talk about the hallway with the ball and the doll hair and that kind of thing.
All right, so we decided that what we were going to do is take those two balls and we were going to roll them down the hallway and see if we could get any entity to roll them back. So we had some success with our foam ball at first. It started coming back a little bit, but once we started using the rubber ball, I feel like it really picked up. So we have some footage of the ball going down the hall and then turning around and coming back. And a couple times it kept hitting the same spot. So as we're walking through the rest of the building, I was just like, man, it kept hitting the same spot every time. Why did we not look at that spot? Let's go back and look at that spot. So we did, and we shined our camera up, and sure enough, we saw a doll head. Levi, you want to tell us about the doll head?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, that was the doll hallway where we had a whole bunch of dolls hanging from the ceiling, and there would be one that would always swing randomly. And it's a, I don't know, 150-foot hallway with no ventilation, no air ducts at all, basically a sealed off concrete hall, and only one doll would swing. And so when we got rid of the zombie theme, we went through and cleared that whole hallway out. I probably went back 4 times making notes, even like pointing out little pieces of string still left over. So like there were no dolls up there that I knew about. And so sure enough, right when we went to that spot and looked up, there's just one doll head with its hair just hanging on the ceiling.
Yeah, and there was also a lot of scratching. I mean, there's scratching all throughout, but it kind of looked like, you know how kids draw on walls and you're just like, what is this random? Why would you do that? That's terrible. And there was like scratchings down below where like, that seems a little interesting, something to take note of for sure. But I mean, I've looked through that wall myself. I've been on tall ladders, hanging wires, and I've literally never noticed that. And that's the sort of thing that I kind of have an eye out for, because I'm always kind of looking over my shoulder in this place, but it doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a lot of footage that we're going to be going through in the next couple days, and Rue will probably give me a hand with that, and Christy, I know, can't wait to get her eyes on the footage. She might be up all night. Let's talk about how Levi scared the crap out of us all, because we all knew that was going to happen. Yeah. And he got us a couple times.
That first time.
That first time was me.
That first time.
Yeah, that was you.
We were, it was Ellie, and she was walking back from letting some other folks in a different part of the building. And Levi and Jesse and I were sitting on the floor, and and we were asking questions and trying to taunt, any ghost to come speak to us. And Ellie hit the wall, and on cue, Jesse and I screamed bloody murder. I can't wait to see how that blew the speakers out when I listen to it later. But Ellie, talk about, okay, so we went back and started watching the cameras, and Jesse's got some great footage. We had Ellie go back by herself and roll the ball down that a different hallway. And we were watching on the cameras, and we saw some interesting stuff that matched up with what she was feeling. So, Ellie, tell us about what happened.
So we're all staring at the cameras, and there's orbs and all kinds of things kind of floating across screen. And I said, why don't I just go play with the ghosts a little bit? Here, hand me the balls. So I went up and I tossed the rubber ball first, kind of gently, and it kind of makes a curve around, but disappears into the darkness quite a bit because it's pitch dark. I don't turn any lights on. So I decided to throw the foam one, and I feel like my toss was a really bad throw. So it disappears into the darkness, and I don't hear it like rolling or doing anything. It kind of just hits the wall and stops from what I thought. But I sit there for another little minute or so, and a few seconds, and I'm like, okay, can you bring the ball back? Bring the ball back. And the foam ball slowly kind of creeps into view. And I get so spooked that I immediately kind of stand up and put my hands up like, no, it's time for me to go. Like that I know I was asking for that, but the fact that it happened, it's just a little bit not okay for me. So I dipped out pretty quick.
Okay, so meanwhile, Christy, Levi, and I are all watching this camera, and we see her flashlight come into frame. We see the first ball go down the corridor, the second ball, and then we see an orb go immediately over her shoulder, and then a bright orb. And then after that, she's just stuck there, and we're like, okay, what is she doing? What is she doing? Well, we start hearing Ellie's voice right behind us, coming up from behind. Turns out the camera froze right after that orb went over her shoulder. And it's right at the moment that the ball had rolled back. And then we see her react to it once she was back at the camera with us. So I can't wait to post that video and show you guys how crazy the orbs have gotten at around 11 p.m. is when it really started. So Oh man, I'm starting to draw a blank because it's been kind of a long night of doing this, but I'm so happy to share the footage. Big thank you to Ellie and Levi for joining us here and for letting us come and terrorize their space and hang out with us. Christy's got some more she wants to add.
I forgot about the little mini Etch-a-Sketch.
Oh,
Remember,
yes. Tell
y'all?
about the
So
Etch-a-Sketch.
we put the little mini Etch-a-Sketch, and we've got a photo of it. Jesse will
Yeah, and to be
post
clear,
it
it's
up.
an Etch-a-Sketch Magnadoodle.
Yeah, like a little mini Magnadoodle. There you go. And it was completely clear, and the pencils attached, and a little magnetic. And we put it on the ground, and we sat in that area in the dark for a long time, facing it and asking questions and this and that. And then when we got up to leave, because we thought nothing was really happening that area, we're going to move on to a different area. The little Magnadoodle actually had markings on it. The crazy thing is it could not be reproduced with the magnetic pencil we tried or with our fingers. So something put a mark on it, and it's pretty cool. I'm excited to have those photos shown as well. Can you guys think of anything else?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So we're all sitting in a row, backs up against a wall, and we're asking the ghosts many questions. Are you there? Make a noise, make a tap, touch us. And nothing was really kind of happening all that much, but right in front of me, Levi and I both see it at the same time, a little yellow light, almost like a firefly, kind of lit up for half a second.
It was bright.
But it was bright. It was bright.
Yeah.
And then disappeared completely. And I looked at my phone. I was like, did my phone just make that? No. Was it the walkie-talkie? No. There's no light on the walkie-talkie. Like, we were just at a loss of where the heck that came from. It didn't make any sense. Definitely spooked us. Team Spook.
Yeah, and that was
Really break up in our teams.
yeah.
Nope, not happening.
Yeah, and that light that popped up was 8 inches in front of our feet, right on the concrete floor, dead in front of it where we're sitting. And yeah, it was so bright it made me jump.
Yeah, it did. And Levi is not easily spooked at all.
And we both jumped at exactly the same time. 'cause
Exactly
we
the
both
same
saw
time.
it.
I grabbed your knee and I was like, no.
Both of us were like, no, wait, did we just see that? Yeah, that was crazy.
The ball and the bunny.
Oh yeah, at one point when we rolled this ball, the ball down what we'll refer to as like the child hall, the doll head hall. How about the ball in the doll head hall?
Down the hallway.
It's very poetic. Okay, so we roll the ball, and at one point it kind of took a weird curve, and we had our wind-up bunny stationed with a different ball underneath it, so that if the ball... Oh, wait, no, not at that point in time. Okay, so the wind-up bunny was just by itself, and if you barely were to touch this bunny, it would just kind of hop around. So the ball went around the corner as if guided, and then bonked into that, causing the rabbit to go off.
We're talking 100 feet? Yeah, it went down that hall like 100 feet, swerved directions a few times, somehow bounced up onto the wood
Yeah, because
And then it was in this weird wood box.
Yeah.
Right.
that we used to keep a bunch of like little child toys and stuff like that in.
It shouldn't have enough velocity to have
Bounced.
knocked or bounced or done anything like that. If anything, it should have been coming to the end of its kind of motion based on the throw that I gave it, to be honest.
And we'd been doing it. We did it 20, 25 times.
Yeah.
And this time, Ellie literally said, "This is going to be the last throw." And then it just like magic missile guided right to it and hit it and set it off. And then the rabbit went off running through the room.
And we all reacted immediately like, did that just happen? Was that real life right there? Oh my goodness.
Alicia,
Is this real
is this real life?
life? Oh, man.
So it has been an absolute crazy and joyful day, and we are so thankful to Survive KC for having us out to investigate Union Station, to Levi and Ellie. There's only one more thing I really want to add before we close, and that's one of Levi's personal experiences with a haunting. He had a house with his brother.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so
You've got to tell that story. You have to. I can't let you off this podcast without
So, when I was 19, my brother and I bought a house in Hyde Park that was like 5 stories, 8 bedrooms, like, yeah, just this old big house. And so we move in and we'd be in the living room. I mean, it's a creaky house, like for real. Like when the wind would blow, like you'd hear everything creak. But like we distinctly like hear footsteps on the floors above us. And so we were living in the second floor and would hear it like even in the morning or something. You just hear these like faint footsteps upstairs. And so we'd immediately go up with a shotgun and sweep the whole house, look through every closet. And so then we're like, well, maybe when we go into one room, it's like coming out or something. And we looked and looked, could never figure it out. And so like we lived there for probably 2 or 3 weeks and just kind of got used to it. And we're like, all right, whatever, like it's haunted, you know. We kind of gave up on like doing our thorough sweeps. And so then I moved up to the top floor bedroom in the center. Each floor had 3 rooms. And so I'd be asleep and I'd hear it walk out of the next room over and then go down the stairs. And so I'd get out and I'd look and I could never find anything.
That's crazy.
And so, yeah, searched again. And so then one day it happened again. I swung the door open and there's a dude just standing there that I've never met. And he takes off running down the stairs.
Like a real dude?
Real dude. This old homeless dude was standing there and took off down the stairs.
No.
Big fat nope.
No.
And I think we found our nope of the week.
Yeah, so then we finally we're like, okay, we have got to figure this out. And we went through and we found in a closet there was like a little access panel. And so we pop it open, and in the tiny little attic space there was a twin-sized bed curled up in a U shape that the dude was sleeping in. And so we were living with some random dude for like 3 weeks.
In your wall.
That we didn't know, living in our walls.
I cannot even imagine learning that I was sharing a house with a stranger and they were living in my walls. I mean, do you think he like showered and used your bathroom when you guys weren't home?
Did he
Yeah.
use your toothbrush?
Oh, did he?
He probably used your toothbrush.
Oh, man. Did you notice any food ever missing? Like he was
No.
munching on snacks and whatnot?
We'd leave like money on the counter, like in the kitchen, and I mean, never had anything. Like we had MacBooks sitting around.
How did you solve that problem? Because for Christy and I, we'd be like, all right, get your shit. We're getting out of here. Back up the car. Like, we can live with Jim. Jim's fine. But,
He's good people.
I mean, real people.
Yeah. Yeah, so we finally figured out that, well, down in the basement, there was like a little hole that went out to the crawl space under our kitchen. So, because the kitchen was an add-on. And it's a big space. And so you can't really see the other side of it. And then we finally crawled up inside this thing, belly crawl through this dirt for like 30 feet to look around and see like how this dude's getting in our house, because we already changed the locks and put locks on the windows. And so then we finally find there's like a access panel on the outside to with a bush in front of it that we never saw. And so that means every time the dude would come and go, he'd belly crawl through that area, come through our basement, go up every single floor to go up and hide in the attic.
Holy guacamole. And how many floors was that house again?
4 with a basement. Wow. So and he had to walk past all of our bedroom doors.
How do you evict? How do you evict someone who's living in the walls?
Board up the whole
Yeah, we I think we cinder blocked that hole real fast.
Oh, man. Yep. So that's our nope of the week. Join us next time on
Supposedly.
Levi has to say it.
Supposedly.
Woo!